Hi, my name's Chad Bailey. I'm a contract administrator for Tesoro, and I put together a consulting brief for the supply chain department with some of the issues of trust that we can work through. So I've put together this presentation. I want to get going on it. First, what I did is I did a SWOT analysis, and I identified the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that Tesoro has. As you can see, the strengths, we have strong refinery operations. We've got 6 refineries in the United States, mostly in the Midwest. That's kind of our niche market. We found that we're not as competitive in the Gulf, and so we focus on the West. And in fact, we're the largest refinery in California. We also have strong marketing operations. We have many agreements with different suppliers, such as Shell and ExxonMobil, to actually sell our gasoline, and so that's a real big strength for us. Weaknesses is our dependence on other logistics operations, such as pipelines or transportation from the oil exploration companies. We do have a stake in Tesoro Logistics, but we rely quite heavily on them, and so that's a risk. Tesoro used to be in oil exploration, but they got out of it, and now they're heavily in refining, and they're getting into a little bit more into logistics to take care of these problems. Opportunities, we've got many strategic agreements in place that are advantageous to us, and we also have a positive outlook for U.S. fuels consumptions, even with the downturn in oil prices. We found that with the downturn in oil prices, people will likely consume more fuel, and so the outlook really looks quite good for us. Threats, some of the threats that I've named, especially is environmental. We are heavily regulated, and any environmental release that we have into the community can really affect us. A lot of our refineries are in urban areas, and so the risk is quite big if we have any incidents that can really put a damper on our profits. And also with the government regulations that are always in play, those really affect our business and our opportunity to work hard and to do a good job. Our stakeholders that I've identified for this project are senior management, Tesoro operations and maintenance, the supply chain, employees of course, and suppliers. Senior management is a major stakeholder because they develop the strategies and task supply chain to implement these strategies. Tesoro operations and maintenance departments are the key decision makers in any supply chain decision. They have to live with the products and the suppliers that actually come on site because they work with them. And so they have a lot of power, high legitimacy, and high urgency because their profits are tied to the quality of the products that we get, and also the quality and the expertise of the sources that come in, such as electrical contractors, mechanical contractors. Those type of contractors and suppliers really play a heavy role in what they do. And also the suppliers. Suppliers are kind of at the mercy of the operations and maintenance department, and as well as the supply chain department. But yet they really want to work with Tesoro because of the historically high profits that are in the oil industry. And so they are also a key stakeholder in my analysis. I've identified the ideal relationships for Tesoro in their supply chain department. The ideal relationship is to get the best product or service for the best price, and to have our contractors work safely. That's really key to us. For the suppliers, and also to form long-term relationships with key suppliers who can do a good job for us and are reliable. The suppliers, the main thing that they're concerned about is a safe work environment. They also want to be treated fairly. They want fair compensation, and they want a fair opportunity to get work. They don't want biased work or biased opinions that can preclude them from getting this work. So I've identified 3 risks of these relationships, and in this consulting project that I've made for the supply chain department and for you guys, the risks that I've identified is the risk of effective commitment. Effective commitment is a big risk that actually involves emotional aspect in your decisions. We have different types of commitment, and the one commitment that I've identified is this effective commitment because it it really alters our way of thinking. We have different suppliers that have been in the refinery for a long time, and we're emotionally attached to them because we work with them day to day. And so that's effective commitment. It can cloud our judgment when we're trying to get the best value for Tesoro. And sometimes, because of that effective commitment, these suppliers take advantage of us, called opportunism. The second one is that supply chain really has a poor relationship with operations and maintenance. Operations and maintenance views supply chain as, kind of a necessary evil to get the job done. Typically, in this relationship, if they had their way, ops and maintenance would source everything and just leave supply chain to clean up the paperwork or be clerks. And the third risk is the tendency to view suppliers as short-term solutions instead of long-term solutions. So moving forward, oops, go back. So overcoming effective commitment. So what happens is, again, I explained this effective commitment. It really is an emotional attachment to these suppliers. One way that we can overcome this is to recognize that there's a personal bias in every decision that we make. We recognize that we know these people, and that my decision may be affected because of the knowledge of these people, and that it may preclude me from choosing somebody else who may be just as good or perhaps better. And so a key to any decision in the supply chain is to recognize that this bias is in place, and I need to be cognizant of that. Second one is a veil of ignorance. John Rawls introduced this concept. In a veil of ignorance, we suppose that we're a brand new person, new to the situation. We don't know anybody in the supply chain or any of our suppliers or their past history, so we can look at it objectively with a fresh set of eyes. If we look at every supply chain decision in this aspect and just look at the facts and the proposals the way that they are, this will help us to be fair and to select the best supplier or product for the need that we have. And the third one is to remain vigilant, always question. When we bring a new supplier on, we're really good at this. We question them, we get them to know our processes, and then because of effective commitment, we kind of leave them alone, and if they screw up, we say, well, that's okay, that's part of learning. When in reality, we need to remain vigilant. We need to always question them on what they're doing. And some of the ways we can do that is through regular status updates, have the suppliers come in and present on what they're doing, and also we can update them with our expectations and grade them as to how they're doing. Second one is we need to constantly bid, and we need to check the market or test the market. That can be through bidding, can be through market intelligence, but we need to keep our suppliers honest. Those suppliers that have been with us for a long time, they have a tendency to take advantage of us and raise their prices, and we want the best value. So that's one strategy we can do to overcome this effective commitment. To improve our relationship with ops and maintenance, I have selected the stakeholder trust model that Dr. Hansen presented in his Ethics 6110 class, and specifically on the 3 C's of the stakeholder trust model, which are character, compassion, and capability. For character, the supply chain department needs to stand for fairness and be principled in their approach to adding character. Being principled and doing what we say that we're supposed to do will go a long way into gaining trust with operations and maintenance. The second thing we need to do is have compassion, and we can have compassion by understanding the timelines that they have, being quick and responsive, and also looking ahead and maybe taking advantage of opportunities that may come to light to speed up turnaround times for suppliers or products. This can also be attending their meetings, getting to know their procedures, just becoming more aware of their point of view, and in turn that will build more trust for us. And when we've done these 2 things, when we've built character and compassion, then we'll be able to get to show our capability. We'll be able to show what we've been trained for, to be able to source, to get the right supplier in for the right price that'll give us the product or the service that we're looking for. And so with these 3 C's, we'll be able to gain trust with ops and maintenance. We'll be able to take risks with them, possibly bring in new suppliers or new products that are better than what we've done, and this in turn will lead to financial gain. And with constant feedback, we'll be able to improve this relationship over and over again. Second is, or third, we want to form long-term relationships with our suppliers. Right now in Tesoro, we have the tendency to look at suppliers as short-term solutions instead of making them members of our team and partnering with them to gain better advantages in the supply chain. And so one thing that we need, the four things we need to do is we need to collaborate more with our suppliers, bring them in the loop in our planning process. We need to take a long-term approach, not just short-term and dollars and cents, but look at the long-term and what they can bring to us as far as synergies and efficiencies and that sort of thing. Also, we need to improve the bidirectional flow of information. With a long-term relationship, we'll be able to contractually agree about the different flow of information and what we provide them. And with this flow of information, the supply chain will be expanded. We'll be able to take advantage of more things that they have to offer and really become partners with them. And then the last step is we need to take an active management in the approach to supplies. We just can't sit back and let them take care of it, but we need to understand what they're actually supplying, the services that they're supplying, so we can get to know their business and what they're doing. These are the keys to supply chain and how we can move forward and be more efficient, and also how we can gain relationships of trust. Putting these things into practice will allow us to do these things, and I know that this is something that we can do. Thanks for listening. Bye.